Yo, 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 we back.
Hey, Mister.
What's going on, Dre?
Just taking it hour by hour, minute by minute, trying to stay alive.
I hear that. I hear that. Well, I mean, let's address the elephant in the room, brother.
Which
You
one?
got you got a haircut.
Well connected. Thank you very much for all the love. Oh, so good. It feels so good. I feel 5 pounds lighter.
Hey now.
Though I know I'm not, but I still feel 5 pounds lighter.
Looks fresh, man. Looks fresh. Nothing like a good cut, man.
This is I had it on Monday, so I'm 7 days out.
What?
Growing in right. I was like, use a negative one. Like, way down.
He was looking for a baldy. He's about to give you a baldy. Just let it grow back. Just give the outline so it can grow in. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I put my stocking cap back on. Kept my little line in the morning because I didn't need it. Well, my hair was made no sense.
That's true. That's true.
It's back. Yeah. I went. We are phase 2 here in New York City. So barbershops are allowed to be open. When I heard that, like last week, I made an appointment online for Monday and got in and just, I was thinking like, do I need to go again?
Yeah.
I really need to, but I want to.
Got your powers back, man. You got some of your powers back.
Exactly.
Yeah, that. It's nothing like a sharp lineup, man.
You feel good about yourself. Feel good about yourself. And I was just letting mine grow. I did a little bit of trim, but I was letting it grow. I was just, it's been since March. Since before.
Sometimes those are the best haircuts, though. Sometimes, like when you let your hair grow out, sometimes the best haircuts when they come, everything's going to be extra crisp because it got something to work with. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It was a joyful occasion for everyone in the room, I have to say.
That's beautiful. Well, salute to them. Salute to
Well Connected and my people. And they had a system, like, they only use the thing once. You gotta keep your mask on. You come in, go wash your hands, right to the back. You got an appointment, you can't, go outside, no walk-ins. You have an appointment, you get early, go outside and wait. It was great.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So I guess that answers the questions that we were thinking about and trying to explore before in the last episodes, right? So yeah, it looks like they got it down pat.
Yeah, a system. Very pleased.
That's what's up. Well, looking fresh for another fresh conversation, man.
Let's get into it.
Now, I mean, what's on your mind these days? Before we get into what's on your mind, I guess we should get into our little fashion and then pour some stuff.
Yeah, I'm ready for a pour. My goodness. Let's start with your shirt. I see you got some love for some people on your shirt.
Oh yeah, this is another Movement Philly selection. I love my people. See Africa there, right? You know it's real. So I love my people. That's what I'm rocking with. That's what I'm on these days. I mean, I've always been on that.
Yes.
But these days, for sure, I want to make sure that I'm loud and clear.
Rock and roll. I need to get to that store.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Want just mercy. All we want is mercy. And we need it and call for it in these situations. This is from the Equal Justice Initiative in Montgomery, Alabama. I think I told you every time I go there, I buy a shirt.
Yes, sir.
I got tons of shirts. And also, let's talk about something they do. The shirts are only like $12. You know how you go someplace, shirts like $25, $29. And they know like people are coming. It's a way for us to make a little bit of money. I don't know what their justification is, but I like it. The shirt maybe it's $12 or $15, but it's reasonable. So Brian Stevenson's book, and then the movie made the same title. And I think for me, the phrase does so many different things. Like it's like just mercy or just mercy. It can be interpreted so many ways, but it's real simple and it's just brilliant. If this is all we want, like, come on, people.
Yeah.
Turn things around.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
What are you sipping today?
I had to bring it back, man. Remember I told you I was talking about the difference between the 1884 and the 1856. Now, I mean, I must confess. I'm sorry. I misspoke, or maybe I spoke prematurely.
Okay.
I didn't have enough time. I didn't really spend much time with you. But I'm bringing this one back. which I had said was the real MVP, which
Uh.
it is, which it is. However, I think I misspoke. I think the 1856 is probably a better bottle. After you sit with it, let it open up, explore a little bit, become friends, you know, all those things.
Buddy, out.
You know, so we're friends now. But I think I misspoke. This is still delicious, but I think the other one's a more superior bottle.
I really enjoy seeing the progress you have with your body. Each time you bring it back, it's a little bit more, of a dent in it. I respect that. I'm like, is he at another show? Like, no.
Well, yes, sir. What you rocking with today?
I decided to bring back the bullet.
Yes, sir.
Get a little flavor and taste to knock it out. Super simple. I got to get some of that stuff, but.
Oh, that sounds great.
All right. About the sound effects today.
Oh yeah, definitely need the sound effects.
Great.
I mean, I definitely want to toast to your haircut. I mean, I don't know if there's anything else on your mind, brother. But
I'll take that. I'll accept that. The cleanup. Toast to the cleanup. The haircut. The cleanup.
Talk about it. I mean, it is the Brown Juice Barbershop, bro. You just brought the barbershop back in here.
Finally, be our first occasion with a barbershop. Brown Juice Barbershop. To the barbershop.
The barbershop. Oh yeah. That feels good.
84, 86. You got all these decades and years and stuff up between you. I ain't mad though.
You know, I'm trying to figure it out.
Hey, you know what? That's what it's about sometimes. I think that's what it's about all the time, actually, trying to figure it out.
Absolutely.
Trying to figure out how do you put one foot in front of the other and keep it moving, because we live in a complicated world.
Yes, we do.
Oh man. It is. So, you got anything you're thinking about? Because I might have a little query.
I got a query as well. I mean, so what you want to do? You want to shoot for it? What do? Rock, paper, scissors? What we doing, brother?
Let's rock, paper, scissors for it.
All right. So now this is what I always talk about, and I want to know how other people feel, because every time I get into rock, paper, scissors conversation, there's a little bit of controversy.
Oh, really?
Now, do you do rock, paper, scissors, shoot, or do you do rock, paper, scissors, says shoot?
Oh, the former. I've never heard says shoot.
See, I grew up on the says shoot.
Really?
Now, I don't know if that's because you're giving somebody a warning that you're about to shoot. I don't know. All I'm saying is rock, paper, scissors, says shoot. I don't know. But that's what I grew up on. But when I came here in Philly and other places, is rock, paper, scissors, shoot. So I want to get those out the way and make sure we're doing it correctly, brother.
I might have a theory about that.
I would love to hear it.
What's that borough you grew up again? We've been talking about this before.
Money making Manhattan, specifically neighborhood Harlem.
Yes, exactly. A place that Alain Locke and many others made famous for the Renaissance. I think the phrase is always trying to do too much as it comes to mind. So I accept that. I love that you just justify it and getting it. It's not even, you just do it. I want to know, we did it like this. It's like, okay, keep it going. But okay. I think today in honor, I want to do says shoot, because I like it. I'm with it.
All right, man. I rock with that. All right. So whoever wins, the person who loses, do they ask the question first? Or does the person who wins get to defer or take the option of asking the first question?
I like the latter.
Okay. All right.
You get some control.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So whoever wins gets the choice. So whether they're going to ask or tell the other person. Perfect. Sounds like a plan. All right. So we're doing rock, paper, scissors, says shoot. I'll be rocking with. Okay. Ready?
Is it says shoot or says shoot? What you saying?
See, that's the thing, brother. It's an urban legend, you know. Sometimes we drop the T, you know. Rock, paper, scissors, says shoot.
Right.
And really shoot, but you're saying shoot.
Right. I'm with it. I'm with it. I just wanted to explore the vernacular, make sure I was understanding properly forward in this exercise. Because
Yeah, I'm not telling you to get out of here. No. Rock, paper, scissors says shoot. We shooting. Yes, shoot.
Okay, okay.
All right. Ready? And so we're just one out of one, right? That's it.
Round one.
All right.
Round one.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors says shoot. All right.
Okay, you got it.
All right.
Paper.
I want you to ask the question, brother.
Okay. Okay. My query has some historical relevance and also a connection to what is happening in the world right now. You know, we're living in COVID and the world is on fire because people are protesting and rioting right now. And I want to know today's date. We're the last couple of days of June, and July begins this coming week. And the fourth day of July is the celebration of America's independence. Now, considering the strength and the power and the acknowledgement of Juneteenth by so many now, which many of us have always acknowledged and wonder, will this 4th of July be different for you? And if so, how?
It's a great question, my brother. It's a great question. Really appreciate the question. Every time I hear the 4th of July, I'm reminded of our ancestor, Frederick Douglass. What does the 4th of July mean to the Negro or to the slave, right? In that regard. And for me, I think because those folks who already had a very, very deep consciousness about who they are, where they come from, their ancestors and ancestry, they were familiar with, or at least knew about Juneteenth. Whether they celebrated the 4th of July or not, they knew about Juneteenth. I think because they knew about Juneteenth, the 4th of July wasn't Independence Day. It was just an excuse for a cookout, brother.
Hey.
Get some people together, throw some stuff on the grill, have some brown juice, right? So for me, I think particularly in the time and space that we're in right now, and I hope it's not just for me. I hope it's for not only folks of the culture, but I hope it's for other people who are not in the culture. I hope they take a moment in time to not celebrate that day the way they used to celebrate it, or the way that they're accustomed to celebrating it. I would love it if people instead didn't fly an American flag, but instead looked for maybe a liberation flag, or maybe honored a country that their ancestors came from, whether they're immigrants here, who immigrated here. I hope that people actually think about it, interrogate what the 4th of July is, what it's meant, what it does. And I wonder how those folks who love to fly the Confederate flag feel about the 4th of July and how they celebrate it, thinking about all the stuff that they were trying to, I guess, uphold, protect, all the monuments they don't want to come down. So I hope whether it's for folks who've been a little bit more conscious about Juneteenth, about not really having that so-called independence in 1776, I hope folks understand that now is a time where we should really be thinking about and exploring what it means to be, one, independent, also free, and thinking about when you talk about independence and who has the right to it, am I counted in that? Was I counted in that? So for me, I know I usually have Black holidays. Like my holiday is usually Black, but I think this 4th of July is going to be like an eclipse. You know what I mean? So I think that I hope and I invite and I encourage, no matter who you are in these yet to be United States of America.
Hey, call it.
I hope that people are actually really sitting with, thinking about, reflecting on, wrestling with what that holiday means and if it should be celebrated the way we celebrate. So thank you for that question, because yeah, I think it's going to hit different this year. At least I hope so, because some folks are quick on to the next one. Right. They're already getting excited about sports starting back up already. Already. So I hope folks celebrate it in a different way and really dig deep. And I would encourage everybody to go take a listen to Frederick Douglass' speech.
What does the 4th of July mean? The July 4th mean to the slave?
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. Yeah, I respect that. I think those are some great points. For one, on a superficial level, since there are fireworks every night.
Talk about it.
God.
Over there too.
Every night. How's your dog? Is your dog cool with fireworks?
You know what? Thankfully, he's actually cool. He's actually cool.
I could imagine having a dog that's under the bed. I heard somebody saying, it's the kind of time now where if you jump under the bed to run and hide, your dog is already there. Or the dog finds you already there. Something like that. It's like it's crazy. Yeah, the fireworks here, 8 till 3 a.m. And some of the conspiracy thoughts and ideas of like, you can't get fireworks like this.
Heard about that.
Acme, and it does, is it a simulation of gunshot? Like, it's considering that your president will tweet someone saying white power. What else can we expect? And even though I do think that that's just a shiny moment to take us away from other issues with this knowledge of Russians threatening and offering money for American soldiers, stuff is out of control. Stuff is out of control. So, to bring us back to that query of the 4th of July, I just was thinking about that, considering how good Juneteenth felt. Even though I worked all day, it didn't have any real major celebration. I was a bit like, oh, this is something for us to think about, because things are not the same anymore. I remember being a little kid thinking about 4th of July and being like, so 1776, independence, weren't we still enslaved? Like that, counting the math. And I was like, wait, the war hadn't really started, and wait a minute, and it's just moments like that which I like that's happening, is that we're no longer just accepting things as they were, the status quo. And it's hard for people. It's hard for people to accept that. I've just thinking about all the people who are calling me and writing me and sending messages about how sorry they are about what's happening in the world. And my thing is like, and it's a lot of like, the institution is troublesome and the world is bad. And it's like, we're part of the institution in the world. So rarely is the email, hi, I'm bad and terrible, I'm going to change. There's a little hint of it, a little touch into it. And I sit and think like, this is the patience I've had to have for so long when it comes to these issues and concepts and ideas. Like, really have had to have for so long. I got to once meet, and I regret I didn't do this, man. I regret. I was working at the hip hop festival, it was called. We had up at City College, and the last poets came and did a talk, just did a panel about what they're doing and stuff, talking about the birth of hip hop, through the eyes of the last poets. It was great. It was so good.
I bet.
And they were like, yo, brother, just come by. The door is always open. We're at blah, blah, blah up in Harlem. And I never went. And I was sitting here like, what's wrong with you, Dre? Like, the last poets. The last poets were like, just come through. The door is always open. Brother, we got you. We just come sit and politic us. We get some food, we hang out, we just do this. And my mind is like, whoa, I remember I was young. I just couldn't conceive of it. But that kind of immediate welcoming, and to think about their words and how they perform, what they put together, what they say. They were radical at a time, speaking so clearly and succinctly about the issues and problems that we face in our society. No apology. And I'm with that. I'm for that. I think we need much more of that. And I'm very aware of how I edit and correct myself in certain spaces. Yes, I gotta keep the job, and keep things in place and function in society. But I have been thinking a lot. That's why I asked that question about 4th of July, thinking a lot of like the ways that I fall into behavior that's about behaving and that's controlled. And I'm not so sure that's what I want to do anymore. So I don't know, 4th of July, I might still grill, but.
That's powerful. That's powerful. I think we need to take a book out of, take a page out of what you call it, the cultural appropriators.
Oh yeah.
We need to reclaim or appropriate the 4th of July for our own purposes. Now, I don't know how we do that, but I'm sure there's some folk out there in the culture who will make it happen.
Yeah.
But I think we need to really go in on the 4th of
Yeah.
July, whether we flood social media, whether we take over TV stations, like some folks who actually have the media opportunity in terms of like putting forth whatever they want to put forth. Run Frederick Douglass' speech. I know there's a number of folks who actually have like live recitations of it, and folks actually, you know, they read through the whole thing. I know Roland Martin has done that on his media outlet. I know other folks do things like that, but I think we need to dedicate that day to self-empowerment, self-reflection, and really thinking about what we can do moving forward. Because again, talk about independence, talk about the history of the United States. There's a lot that we should not be celebrating.
Yeah. Yeah. I have an idea for part 2 of this, but we can come back to that after we get through this.
Okay, I like that. I like that. So part 2 of the question or part 2 of
This conversation.
Gotcha. Okay. So are you ready for a query?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I've been seeing a number of different things on social media, having conversations with folks, etc. You know, you have a number of different brands who are saying we're no longer going to have Aunt Jemima here. We're not going to have Uncle Ben the way he is. We're going to change the whole notion of master bedroom. We're not going to say that anymore. All these things, right? So I want you to help the people discern and not become distracted, but discern the difference between symbolic change and systemic change, and whether or not both should happen, or whether or not folks are trying to hit us with the okey doke and lull us into a place of complacency where we're like, oh, we've won, when the systems that have been in place are still in place. No one's dismantling them or destructing them, but we have symbolic change. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on symbolic change versus systemic change.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this. Actually went through a workshop yesterday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So, no, sorry, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Ooh.
On Saturday morning, run by my people at the Racial Equity Institute. Shout out to the Racial Equity Institute. Beautiful people, beautiful work, beautiful ways of thinking. And it was a groundwater exercise, it was called. It's all about this discussion about how they go through some great stats, just break down some research projects, some history that dig into what turns into systemic racism. And the whole discussion, the piece I walked away with was that what we're talking about is glacial, is huge. And we need a seismic level interruption of it. You know, so I'm curious, and this morning I felt one way, and now after your question, I may feel a different way. Where I was like, well, these are all little tremors, you know. Don't fight again. But I saw some people online like going in about how massive barriers that don't get. I was like, okay, like that's a lot of energy to push back and fight on that. Let's hear you talk about, like, it's tough for me to hear 15 minutes on why it's stupid for someone to make a change of saying master bedroom and 30 seconds on because systemic racism is real, you know? And it's like, that's not a balance of time, in my opinion, for the work that I want to do. I want to talk about and break down and explain the system because racism is huge and it's in us. It's a part of us. It structures us. Everything around us is connected and rooted to it, you know? So I rooted in it, rooted to it, connected to it. I think while they are celebratory, I'm like, that's great and that's nice. How about my ability to get a mortgage and a line of credit to be increased to what I need it to be so I can function at the high level? How about reparations? You know, and what does that look like and potentially mean? And what does exploring the conversation mean? Because I'm for every victory, honestly, but I am not for a victory and being an appeasement You know, I don't want some crumbs when I know there's a whole cake inside that I had to make. You know, I want a piece of cake that I made.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want just the crumbs. So yeah, so I am still thinking about that. Because when I hear people say we're not gonna say master bedroom, I'm like, I've had times I'm like, why are we saying master bedroom? You know, why are we saying master bedroom? I'm all for. I want people to stop saying fair skin.
Mm-hmm.
And Michelle Obama, I said it before, I love her, but she uses it all the time because it's a common word. It's a common word. Like, I see. This is how I really think about it. All of these things are wrapped up in our elements of the problem. So when we stop performing and functioning in those ways, we are taking apart that glacial problem. But as your question implies, I think is very important, we cannot stop and think that those independent moments are it. Let's not dance because we got some crumbs. Let's dance so we get the cake that we made and we get to decide how to cut it at the table where we belong.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good query. It's a good one. How about you? What's your take on it?
Yes to all that, brother.
Hey.
Yes to all that. 100%. I'm with you on that. And I think for me, we had a conversation about this earlier in terms of how you and I like to find the nuance in things. It's not just a black and white situation. It's not just a binary discussion, because there's a lot of things that's in between. And for me, when it comes to this situation, I think that it's important for us not to get caught up in the either or.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of time we get into conversations and we talk about the either or. It's like, that's not right. This is the right way. And other people are like, no, that's not right. This is the right way. And I'm here to suggest that maybe it's both and. So maybe the starting point is we get some folks to do some things that are a little bit more symbolic, but we don't stop there.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that it's like, okay, remember how y'all just changed that? Remember the reasons why you changed that? Yeah. So those reasons still exist. So what we're asking for is X, Y, and Z, because what you did should have been done a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
What you did, it's not really going to cost you anything because folks are still going to buy your brand because of the strength of the brand, right? What are we going to do to make sure that your C-suite actually reflects this whole new notion of, I get it, I understand, that's wrong. What are you going to do to make sure that we're not a mascot on your brand, but we're actually managers in your company?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do?
I want to be directors, not just managers, directors.
100%. We want it all. We want it all.
Yeah.
We want it all. So what are you going to do, corporation, to make sure that this is not symbolic change? This is actually a start. And then on the tail end, we're going to start seeing more people actually get promoted, raised into positions of leadership, raised into positions of actually controlling and running the company. When is that going to happen? So when folks start to get into the debate about, oh, well, miss me with blah, 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 blah. What I'm saying is, I want that, and we need to do something else that's a little bit more substantive, that's not symbolic, that's not performative. I need you to put up and show up and stand up and not just say, oh, well, you know what? We're just going to rebrand something. I'm good off of all that. I'm good off all that because honestly, Aunt Jemima's picture on a pancake box is not killing us. It's not. So how about we change some things that actually is? Things that actually are killing us in the streets?
Yeah.
Let's change those things.
Yeah.
Because I really don't want those crumbs. I don't. Particularly if we made the cake and we over here talking about, oh, can I have some cake? We made it.
Right.
We made it. So I think it's a both and conversation. We can't get distracted from the symbolic change, but it's not a bad thing that is happening. It's just that how do we push that further and make sure that symbolic change changes and transforms into systemic change?
Yeah. And yeah, that change. Yeah, I to quote you, I'm 100% with you. I agree. You got me thinking even further about it, because there's those moments of making sure people are paid equally and treated equally and given the same benefits, the same exact benefits, and judge on their merit and given a chance to be at the doggone table.
Mm-hmm.
We've been excluded for so long, and it's so ingrained in people's ways of thinking and ideology on both sides that keep folks from participating. You know, that the internalized racism that we've developed, you know, the internalized questioning and discomfort that we've had. I was watching some comedian, and she was like, "Oh, I've been talking about Black people for the longest time," and she's making this whole joke about how she talked about how she said that racism is a fact that Asian people came to London, opened up shops. We all laughed, ha ha, when the store, like, give me something when the store, but something like, look at them Asians running the store. Then like their children are now driving Mercedes. And then Eastern Europeans, she said, came into Britain also. We did the same thing, like, ha ha ha. And their children are now driving Mercedes because they worked and saved and put together to support the community. And she said, but we don't do that. And that's racism. And then she went on to talk about how, like she said, but just imagine if there was a Black bank, would you do it? And I was like, oh, like, what are you getting at? She's like, I'm putting my money in Barclays. She said, I might put $1 in the Black bank. But you know, every day you'd be like, how's my money? How's my money? How's my money? And I was like, you just don't get it. You don't get what you just did. Like and this was a comedian who's well respected saying, when I was talking about Black issues back in the day. And it's like, no, you just illustrated the problem. You just made a joke. Maybe, and it was only a segment, but my mind was like, why are you just broadcasting this segment? Maybe there's more to it. And I'm talking about that to say that I see it constantly in our people, in us, of like, oh, on certain movies that I worked on, a Black production, it was known that you never let the Black people touch the money. Only Asian people in the accounting department. That was like a known and discussed and presented. And I was like, you're the biggest Black filmmaker in the world, and you feel comfortable functioning and speaking like that. And here I am, this lowly PA, being like, this is not right. Mm-hmm. Don't let any Black people touch the money. And I was like, oh my God, like, versus a $10 million film, and that's how you come out of your mouth. Like, what? Like that, and the fact that we often don't question that. I spent a lot of time understanding how I showed up in those spaces. And I think that's the work, being like, how do I participate in that madness? What are the things I do? What are the moments where I function and perform that way? Being very deliberate and direct, because I'd be a liar and crazy to say it never penetrated me, it never affected me. Mm-hmm. Like that's perpetuating the problem. Mm-hmm. That's existing in the issue.
Absolutely, and that's real though too. And I think it's important for us, like we've talked about before, to decolonize our own minds.
Oh yeah.
We really have to do that, and sometimes it means going the extra mile in order for you to support the things that you wish to support. So, for example, we always rocking shirts. So I'm like, listen, I gotta step my shirt game up. I'm over here. I'm on Amazon. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. I put a number of different dope shirts in my basket. And I thought to myself, I'm like, hold up, time out. I don't know if these are coming from Black-owned companies.
Exactly.
I really don't. I do not know. So please believe. I said, nope, not happening. Not happening. So what I want to make sure is that I'm going to stores, because the storefront open, because it was closed for a while. Mm-hmm. I'm going there. I know exactly where my dollar's being spent, as opposed to all these other folks who look at it as an opportunity to, monopolize and capitalize off of our struggle, off of our pain, suffering, and trauma. I don't care how dope your t-shirt is. My thing is this: if it's not going back to the cause, the one that we're trying to lift up and fight, you don't deserve my green. I don't care what race you are. Right. So my thing is, that goes for Black folks too. So my thing is this: I need to know exactly where my dollar's going these days. Mm-hmm. I've been like that before, but even more so now, because it's easy to be like, well, if I put like 5 shirts in the cart, Amazon Prime, it might come in 3 days and I'm good. Exactly. That's easy. But we can't do things for the sake of it being easy, convenient, or for expediency's sake. We actually have to really be about that life. Going back to the bus boycotts, 381 days. We have to be about that life. And it's not just for a couple of weeks,
No.
a few days, a few months.
No.
No. Try more than a year.
Yeah.
Try that.
Yeah. I had a victorious moment this morning. There's a book by a man named Matthew Countryman, and it's called Up North. And it's all about Black people migrating from the South to Philadelphia.
Mm.
And I've been meaning to read it, but I haven't done it yet. And I was like, I need that book. First thing I did was like Amazon. Then I was like, wait a minute, slow down. And I went to Harriet's bookstore.
Mm.
And they were like, we got you. We'll be there in 3 to 7 days. It's a little bit, it was $7 more for shipping. I was like, fine. As long as that store will be open and there when I get back there. So it was a nice moment because I really, it's just instant like, Amazon. And Amazon has its place. That's another conversation. But I was so happy that I remember. I was like, oh, wait, what am I doing? Harriet's bookstore. The bookstore, it's called Harriet's Bookstore. Come on. You get no better than that. It's run by a sister. It's down in Philadelphia. She's been hustling. And so I'm very happy that I ordered. I can't wait to read it. I've been meaning to read it, and this is a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Good time is for my roots. Have you ever read the book Warmth of Other Suns?
It's on my Black Power bookshelf. My aunt gave it to me. I have not finished it. I need to dig in.
That book is amazing. What I really felt like she did is I felt like I was hearing a story my grandma would never tell me.
Wow.
Like I was like, Grandma, what was I? I remember Grandma telling me one story when they were moving from the South to Philadelphia and how terrible it was on the train ride. They had all their stuff. It wasn't nobody shipping nothing. Everything you have was what you're going to have. And they couldn't use the bathrooms on the train. So they had to get out and run in the bushes and pee and run back on. And she talked about how you had to bring your stuff because wasn't telling the train would be there. And the conductor sat out there looking over the train, looking over the thing while they pee in the bushes, like giggling. To grown women. To my grandmother, and my mother's a little girl and her siblings. Like, come on. That's the behavior we're talking about. Like, come on. It's exhausting. But I'm not giving up. Mm-hmm. It hurts, but I'm not giving up. Mm-hmm. It drives me nuts, but I'm not giving up. Because we got too much work to do and too much to change to turn this around. That's why my 4th of July will be a little different.
Absolutely.
A little different this year.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, even though we deserve a break, I'm coming to grips with it. Mm-hmm. We can't have no summer break. Mm-hmm. There's no room for that.
No.
There's no room for that. So whether you're working or not working, you need to be doing the work.
Yeah.
And we need to show up in the spaces that we need to show up in and make sure that we're doing what we need to do to make sure that this place is better than where we found it. All those Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts out there, where they be like, oh, make sure you leave this place better than where you found it. Keep that same energy and think about America.
Is that where that comes from?
I don't know if that's where it comes from, but I know every time, like with the back of my Cub Scout days and all the other stuff, as soon as you get to the campsite, make sure you leave this place better than where you found it.
I've always liked that. I wasn't sure where it came from. But yeah, that's true. We need to. And it's such a mess, right? It's a scary mess right now. So we got to keep working, turn it around. I'm with it. That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, think about that 4th of July. I don't know what's going down, but it'll probably be some barbecue.
Oh yeah, I have fun.
Just because it's a weekend, and it hopefully should be a beautiful day. I ain't checked the weather.
I know.
But chances are there'll be either some beer or brown juice.
Or both.
Or both, yeah,
And the burgers.
So here's a question. Oh, those burgers too, for sure. Here's a question for you, brother. You just made me think about this. Do you have a drinking protocol? Like, do you start with something and end with something? Does it not matter? Are you one of those types who just like, whatever? Like, do you have a protocol or routine?
Yeah, I had to learn early on that I was drinking like a college girl. I'll have some of that. Let me have some of that. Let me have some of that, And they'd be like, why I can't, what happened? So in terms of having a drinking protocol, I can't say I do. For me, it's a social thing. If I'm on my own, it's very like, let me pick a drink, a flavor, and stick with that. Like if I'm having whiskey, I want one kind of whiskey, even if it's mixed drinks or whatever. I want one kind of whiskey. You hang with your boys and your friends, and it's like that beer before dinner, or a cocktail before dinner, and then wine at dinner, and then something else afterwards. I have those kind of friends. I'm just like, I can't hang with y'all because y'all go in, So I'm very like, just get my flavor that I like, my drink, and try and stay with that. I can't lie, I love a little like whiskey or mixed up fancy little cocktail. I'm always embarrassed myself and order something that comes out with an umbrella in it. Like, oh, they got all my things.
Those are the best drinks, though, bro.
I know. I'm always that guy, like, thank you. But how about you? Do you have a setup protocol?
Oh yeah, brother. Yes. Never leave home without it. So I start off with the brown, and when it's time to wind down and slow down, that's when I pivot to the beer. So brown, then beer. So, I start off with whether it's a cocktail, whether it's me drinking it neat, whether it's me drinking on the rocks, although I seldom drink on the rocks, unless it's in a cocktail, of course. But start with the brown, slow down, beer. And that's how I end the night, usually.
Nice.
If I do switch, that's what I switch to.
Okay. I respect that.
Yeah, so if you ever, like, those days back in the day, college and a little bit after college, like young adult life, it wasn't any type of protocol like that.
Oh.
So it wasn't pretty. No, it wasn't pretty. So
it was fun.
It was fun. I can't say it was memorable. Because you wake up like, what happened? But in terms of this situation now, I know that's I will be good because I know my limits. I know what I need to do in order for me to have, and all the time in between drinking water, just drinking water, make sure you're drinking water all the time in between. And I can go to parties and have a good time and make sure that I cut myself off whenever I need to cut myself off. I've been drinking water, good to go, we good. And it's always usually because whenever I go out with Amanda, I'm the designated driver. So I know about the drink etiquette.
There you go. All about balance.
100%. Like what people say, everything in moderation, including moderation.
Exactly. Hey, that's beautiful. Hey, that's like a shirt.
Yeah, government cheese.
Hey. Right.
Word. Well, we got another one, man.
Hey, man. Well done the books. I love it.
So, anything on your mind for a final toast?
To the work. To the work.
I like
the acceptance of no break. Now's not the time to break. Now's the time to hustle and make it happen.
Amen to that.
Beautiful. Brown juice. Yum.
Brown juice barbershop. So I think our shirts are fitting. So how about we hold them up again and let folks know what's going on? Remember love. I love my people. I love all people, but I love my people.
All they want is just mercy. Just mercy.
Absolutely. So always a pleasure, good brother.
Yeah, same.
Brown Juice Barbershop.
Hey, always
fresh cut.
Oh.
Don't hurt him.
So happy.
That boy sharp. Yeah. Till next time, man.
All right.
Peace.
Take it easy.